Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hallmark Movie Drafts, the monthly podcast where guest panelists are all Hallmark movie enthusiasts who love to debate, rank, and create definitive top 10 lists of Hallmark movies. This month's guest panelists have slogged their way through the 43 eligible Hallmark holiday movies that premiered in 2024 on Hallmark's analog channels and the seven that premiered on Hallmark Plus, their streaming platform. I'm Lynn, your host, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co host, Erinbeth. Erinbeth, what did you think overall of Hallmark's holiday movies this year? Did anything surprise you? Were you even able to watch them all?
I don't remember all of them. There's so many. And I really was surprised actually by a lot of the ones that I already had a preconceived notion about. It's like, I'm going to hate this. And there were quite a few that in my notes I wrote, I think I was supposed to hate this, but I really liked it. So I think that was probably the thing that surprised me the most were those dark horses that I thought this is going to be really just stupid, but I ended up liking it. I came in right at the very end with the Holiday movie. The posters had her with a Boston Terrier. So I thought that the whole movie was going to be about her and a cute little Boston Terrier, but of course it was not. So I felt a little duped.
I love Jessica Lowndes. I am not shy about saying that. And I understand that not all of her movies are great, but I do think that if it had been a talking Boston Terrier that starred across from her, probably would have been better on my list.
It had
Not
been
to be
number one
mean.
for me.
Sorry, Mr. Christmas. All right. Well, for me, I think the only real surprise is that the movie Rescuing Christmas, which would have made my top 10 list, isn't eligible for this draft because it's a 2023 movie that premiered in 2023 on Hallmark Movies Now. And since it premiered on HMN last year we weren't including any of the streaming services or paid services that Hallmark was offering, so it wasn't eligible then. So I am saying justice for Sam Page. That is my motto for 2025. So one of my favorite movies, Rescuing Christmas, wasn't eligible last year. I couldn't play it again this year on my personal list. So I'm going down with justice for Sam Page. Did you see Rescuing Christmas, Sam? Sam, did you see Rescuing Christmas? Aaron Beth.
Would that have been like a fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sam's on the line.
So,
Yeah.
but I did. And Rachel Lee Cook, I mean, come on, you cannot go wrong with the Rachel Lee Cook movie. And he wasn't half bad in it. I thought it was really cute. And honestly, it probably would have been in my top 10 had it been eligible because I really liked the premise and I loved the movie. I was sad that it was a Hallmark Movies Now movie last year and not one that released on the network.
Yeah.
So, yes, maybe we should say, justice for rescuing Christmas. Maybe not
No,
same page.
just Justice for Same Page, I think works for me. Anyway, at the other movie that's not eligible this year that premiered on a Hallmark channel this year, but it was a 2023 movie, is An Ice Palace Christmas. And I am not inspired to say justice for An Ice Palace Christmas. So moving on from that, I think the only real thing that surprised me in all seriousness was how much content Hallmark pushed out across their different outlets and how difficult it was for me to try to keep up with it. I literally just finished watching the last four last week. I couldn't do it. I tried my best. And I know I'll get some hate mail, but I think that I'd much rather have just 30 really banging Hallmark Christmas movies a year than 50 with half of them being sort of meh or the usual. So that's just me. But I'm sure that today's guest panelists were probably like, more movies, more movies, more movies, give us more. And based on their faces, I can see I am wrong. So without further ado, let's get to today's panelists. They're incredible drafters. It's a milestone for them. It's their third year in a row drafting the top 10 list of Hallmark Christmas movies. They're officially three-peaters. RIP, obviously? No. MVPs, obviously. MVPs. So first up is Mary. Mary, you are just amazing. I love your gameplay and your comments so much. And you actually finished second in last year's Hallmark Movie Drafts Tournament of Champions.
Oh, don't remind me.
You lost
Don't
to
remind me.
Dan. You were eligible again this year, but you
I
didn't make
was.
it past the first round. And I'm
No,
so bummed about that. I'm so
no.
bummed about that.
Maybe
Um,
next year.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? You're always so busy. So, what's been going on with you? I know you've been writing a lot. What have you been writing?
Well, Lynn, as we talked about before, I did not put out anything new this year. It was a busy year for family and day job. But the thing about writing books is that they're still out there for sale. So if anyone's looking for a devotional or a Bible study, you can find me on Amazon or on dayspring.com. Um, I've got lots of things to offer. If you are thinking ahead and want to try and do something meaningful as we lead up to Easter, if that's your thing, I have a Lent devotional called Journey to the Cross, and you can find that on Amazon or
Oh,
Dayspring.
that's perfect. Send me the links and I'll put those in the Instagram as well so that
Will do.
people can find them. So that's great. All right. Well, you're coming into the match with a leftover veto from your last match, which was the Julie Sherman one in
Yes.
August, which was really great. Julie Sherman Wolf joined us for that. So good luck today in the trivia round because you'll get to use that veto here in addition to whatever you get in the trivia round with your drafting position. So good luck. All
All
right.
right. Thanks.
Next up is the guy who likes Hallmark movies on the Deck the Hallmark podcast. He's always full of surprises when he drafts with us, and we love that about him. It's Brian Harold. Hi, Brian.
Hello, thank you for having me back.
You are always welcome back. You're a fan favorite. You've got, and this is people think I'm kidding, but this is perfectly true. Every time you're on, our listenership in Czechoslovakia spikes, and
The
I don't
Czechs
know
love
why.
me. They do.
They do love you. And I love your background. Is that something real or did you create this background
Yeah,
of holiday
this is
magic?
actually I tagged along with the Christmas morning podcast up to the North Pole, and so I'm just hanging out here waiting for them to wrap up so I can get out of here.
Did they leave you behind?
I hope not. I just Larry the Elf's right outside the door, and I don't want
Mm.
to have get stuck in a conversation with him, so I'm just hanging in Santa's workshop and waiting him out.
Well, good luck. Good luck with Larry the Elf. Back in July, you did the time travel draft with Bran and Dan, and they were coming at you hard to get rid of
Yep.
your veto that you had towards the end of the
Hmm.
match, but you stood your ground. You
Yeah,
told them kick
that's
rocks,
right. Made a huge
right?
mistake, kept my veto.
You kept your no, but that came into play because when you drafted again in the fall with that crazy food forward draft, that veto came in handy. What would you say to first time drafters about vetoes and veto use and
Hmm.
carryovers?
Yeah, I would say I don't know, there is something to not leaving anything on the table and just playing full force, but there's also there's a lot of gameplay involved. If you're going to be holding on to stuff, there's some strategy there, and if you're looking big picture, if you're planning to come back or you got something lined up down the road, it's nice to have that in your pocket to come into the game and see you already have some stuff on the board. So if you have a chance, don't feel like you got to use everything you got. If you want to hold back a little bit and play for, the big picture and leave something for your family to inherit, then feel free to hold on to whatever you got.
They are because you can't redeem those vetoes for cash, but you can still
Hmm.
redeem them at Church's Chicken. So that's
Oh,
always good.
and I heard maybe for an Easter devotional as well. I hear they're good for
Yes, Mary will accept them.
Yes, absolutely. I
wonderful.
mean, why would I take cash if I could just get somebody's veto?
Exactly. Actually, not a bad idea though.
Not a bad idea. I think I need to write that into Mary's contract for her next appearance. Brian, in all seriousness, what did you think overall of Hallmark's content this year for the holiday movies? Quantity over quality? What were your thoughts? You do this
I
for a living.
I feel like it's always quantity over quality. Sometimes some good ones sneak through. I thought the floor for me was a lot higher than for most people. Like I enjoyed them, I think more than most people did. I didn't have as many complaints. I thought overall it was a pretty good batch. There was a theme that I really liked, which was bringing new faces in. Like Jordan Litz got on the screen, Danny Pellegrino got in a movie, Mark Summers, Jordan Fisher, like people who haven't been in these movies got thrown into these roles. And so I hope that that's something that they do more of, and I figure like they'll work out the kinks and they'll get some better scripts. And like we're coming off a writer strike, people are like all over the place with things. Like people are trying to write their own stuff and be in their own. So I don't know. There's like, and everybody talks about big shifts in Hollywood and all these things. So Hallmark, I don't feel like they're completely insulated from market and entertainment challenges and stuff. So I thought the year was pretty good, and it makes me kind of look forward to what they might end up doing for next year and the year after that. So yeah, I had a pretty good time, though it was exhausting. It was a tough year. It took its toll.
It was a lot. It was a lot, but you're right. There are writers like Russell Heinlein having a killer year,
Just
right? Not just
crushing it.
just crushing it, not just on Hallmark, but his Netflix movie,
Mhm.
Hot Frosty. I mean, you couldn't escape the promos for that, and everybody had a great time with it.
Unfortunately.
Julie, Julie Sherman. That was Mary, folks. Julie Sherman Wolf having a great year as well. You've got like a lot of repeat directors. Jeff Beasley, who just has this amazing filmography as a director for Hallmark. So there's a lot of good stuff that came out in 2024. So yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. There were things that I really liked that I was surprised that I liked. So you actually have a leftover veto override that you're coming in with. So not a veto,
Perfect.
but a veto override. So Mary will not accept those. Those are not redeemable for anything.
Oh man.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And last, but certainly not least by any stretch of the imagination, is someone whose hot takes I always love to hear. This is the only topic that she has drafted on at Hallmark Movies Drafts. It is her third year. She's the MVP. She's the three-peater as well. It's my New Jersey friend, my sister from another mother, Vanessa. Hey, Vanessa, how you doing?
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited.
Vanessa, I just love you. I wish I had made it down to Christmas Con. I've never been to a Christmas Con at all. It's just in New Jersey, just down the coast. You went this year. How was it? Who'd you see? What'd you do?
So I did go to Christmas Con. When I go, I'm not big on waiting on the lines and meeting the stars. So I sort of just like do a walk around and sort of see them from a distance. When I go to Christmas Con, my goal is really just to hang out with the guys from the Deck the Hallmark podcast. So I really just go to see them, and I walk around and sort of go to the vendors. But I don't know. I'm not really all that big on doing the whole thing with the Hall Stars. I don't know. I It's really close to me. Christmas Con is really, really close to my house, so it's super easy for me to go.
Did you include Brian in your walk around since he's part of Deck the Hallmark podcast?
I did see him. He was quite the star.
He just
As
left,
usual.
actually. Oh, there he is. He was quite the
As
star.
Yeah, it's mostly centered around me. I
Yeah.
think is the understanding. So
How much
pretty
was he
fun.
charging for a photo this year, Vanessa?
We don't have time for that stuff.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. All right. Vanessa, you're actually coming into the match with a leftover veto ride from last year's draft as well. So good luck today. Speaking of trivia, let's shift right into gameplay mode. If this is your first time listening, you can pause here and listen to the Hallmark Movie Drafts intro show first. That's where I go over the rules and the format and vetoes in more depth. Or just keep listening and I'm sure you'll be able to pick it up. To be eligible, as I said earlier, the movies had to be a 2024 movie. Premiered on Hallmark's analog channels or their H Plus platform. So as I said, Rescuing Christmas and An Ice Palace Christmas aren't eligible because they're from 2023 and they premiered in 2023. So that left us with 50 movies between Christmas in July and Countdown to Christmas event. And you can see the full list of titles on our Instagram or on our Letterboxd, and the links are in the HMD socials and in the show notes. So let's talk drafting positions for this match. There are three of them, A, B, and C. Drafter C picks positions 10, 7, and 3. Drafter C gets one veto card and one veto override card. Drafter B picks positions 9, 6, 4, and 2. Drafter B only gets one veto because they get more picks than anyone else, so more opportunities to get movies from their personal list onto that final list. And drafter A picks positions 8, 5, and 1. They get one veto card and a bonus veto card, so basically two vetoes with that. And as I said, everyone playing today is coming in with an extra veto of some kind, whether it's a veto card or a veto override card. So How do we decide who gets to be drafter A, B, or C? That's where Erinbeth comes in. She's going to go over the trivia rules, and then she's going to test your knowledge with a round of trivia questions related to all of these eligible movies. Okay? So keep in mind, if you win the trivia round, you also have to be first up in the veto order. It's a double-edged sword there. Good luck, everybody.
Right. Well, I feel like I shouldn't have to read the rules to you guys, but knowing the three of you, I probably should, just so there's no legal action at the end of the match. So here we go.
That's for you,
First of all,
Brian.
you can.
Make no guarantees. You'll be hearing from my people representation.
All right, you cannot
No
answer
comment.
until I have finished. You're like, see, no comment. You cannot answer until I have finished asking the question. As soon as I finish asking the question, raise your hand. I will call on the first person to raise their hand. If I call your name, you have 2 seconds to answer. And if you pause any longer than that, it will be considered a wrong answer. The question will go to the remaining drafters. If you answer incorrectly, you also cannot answer the question again until the other two drafters have made guesses. There aren't any clues, so if it's clear the drafters do not know the answer, we'll just switch to a new question. The first drafter to answer one question correctly will pick their drafting position first, the next drafter to answer a question second, and the third will get to pick whatever is left over. So, does anyone have any questions? No? Well, then I have some for you. Aren't you guys just excited?
Yes.
We are going to plan for this to go a little shorter than it did last year, right? That is the goal. Okay, so we are going to start it with Sugar Plumbed. Maggie Lawson wishes Janelle Parrish into the real world in Sugar Plumbed. What is the name of the fictional town Janelle Parrish comes from? Oh, does anyone want to give it a guess? Okay. The correct answer was perfection. It's a perfect little place. All right, we're not off to a good start, guys.
That was the
We will
easiest
move to
question.
the
I'm
next one.
concerned.
Tyler Hines finds the #1 Chiefs fan in Hunter King in Holiday Touchdown, A Chiefs Love Story. What is the mystery ingredient in the family's eggnog? Brian.
Saffron.
You are correct.
Woo!
So you take a little bit of time and decide which drafting position you want, A, B, or C, and Vanessa and Mary will duke it out for the next one.
Okay.
Well, we are going to go to a novel Noel. Julie Gonzalo helps Brendan Penny run his bookstore in a novel Noel. What is the last bingo square Julie and Brendan complete? Mary.
Kissing under the mistletoe.
That is correct. Kiss under the mistletoe. That is fantastic. Very good, guys. I am really impressed because I was scared after that first question. So, Mary, you will choose second, and Vanessa, you will get whatever is left over.
Great. Okay, Brian, which position do you think you would like? A, B, or C?
I want B.
You want B. So Brian's going to have B. That means he gets picks 9, 6, 4, and 2. He gets 1 veto, and he's bringing in 1 override left over. Okay? And you'll be first up in the veto order. Mary, what position would you like? C or A?
I'll go with A.
Mary, you'll get picks 8, 5, and 1. You get 1 veto, a bonus veto, and you get the veto that you're bringing in from the last time you were here. So Mary has an awful lot of veto powers, 3 vetoes that she can deploy. I know, Vanessa. Vanessa, they do this to you all the time. You are going to be drafter C. You're going to kick off the list. So you get picks 10, 7, and 3.
Okay, Vanessa, just real quick, between just us, let's go ahead and get rid of some of Mary's vetoes real quick. Let's just agree to. I think everybody else, we're muted between, like, this is just us, you and me.
It's just
talking.
me and you talking.
Yeah,
nobody can hear us. Yeah.
Between you, me, and an Easter devotional, let's just go ahead and clear out some vetoes real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in for sure.
Say an Easter devotion. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
I like that. I love your thinking there. All right. Well, you know, you're going to play movies that you can justify. So you get picks 10, 7, and 3. You have 1 veto and 1 veto override with that, and you're bringing in 1 veto override that's left over from your match. So As you're thinking about what you want to play for your number 10, when it's your turn, which it is now, you'll just say the movie title and I'll mention the year and the leads and maybe say a little bit about what the plot is. Aaron, Beth, and I have a little side hustle going on. We're trying to see how many of our personal movies that we've exchanged with each other for a top 10 list make it onto the panelists, finalists. We don't win anything, so we would have to pay cash for Mary's books. We won't have any vetoes to turn in. All right. Okay, Vanessa, I think I've stalled long enough. Let's kick off this 10 best Christmas holiday movies from Hallmark from 2024. What are you going to play at number 10?
I am going to play Three Wiser Men and a Boy at number 10.
Good play.
Very good play. Three Wiser Men and a Boy is Paul Campbell as Stefan, Tyler Hines as Taylor, Andrew Walker as Luke. It's written by Paul Campbell, Kimberly Sustad. She also has a cameo, and Russell Hainline also wrote it as well. I just mentioned that. We know this story. This is now 5 years later with the Brennan brothers preparing for another memorable Christmas. And in a crazy turn of events, possibly brought on accidentally by the brothers themselves, the director of Luke's son Thomas's school holiday musical steps down. And Luke is desperate to make his son's stage debut come true. And he enlists the help of his brothers, Taylor and Stephen. Maybe that's not a good idea. And the trio just, chaos ensues. It will truly be a Christmas that no one ever forgets. So, Vanessa, why did you like this movie and why did you pick it for number 10?
Well, I liked the movie because it was, it was fun. It's always fun when you have those guys all together. It's not higher up on the list. I don't think it was as well received as the first one. It's always hard going in making a sequel. I know the first movie was super successful and I loved it. I was happy to see a sequel because I did sort of want to see where they would go with it and what would happen to Thomas. It was just fun. I didn't love it, but I liked it. It was fun.
It's like a gift to the fans, right? Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
little playing up to the fans. Okay. Three Wiser Men and a Boy at number 10. Brian, do you want to veto that? What do you think of this at number 10?
For me, this is higher on my list. I have this way higher. I say that just fully knowing my list is trash compared to the majority of people, and I'm reminded of this daily from all angles. There's no escaping the barrage of how badly people think about what my opinions and my feelings and my thoughts. It's just constant. So I'm just happy. I'm just happy to see this on the list. I know I want it higher, but I don't want to mess around with this being on the list. And I'm looking at other films that I have that even are outside of my top 10 that I feel like, you know what? I wouldn't even mind that being in the top 10. And I wouldn't mind if it ended up on this list, even though it's not my personal top 10. Though this is tough because there's an aspect of this game where we're trying to get these in the right spot, right? That to match our personal list. And this, I'm basically giving that away, but I'm not going to veto it at this. I'm not going to veto it. I'm going to keep it at 10.
Brian's going to keep it at 10.
That's tough, but I'm going to do it. Yep.
Mary, you have 3 vetoes, Mary. That's literally, you could impact a third of this list.
Swimming in vetoes.
What are your thoughts on Three Wiser Men and a Boy?
So when I was going through the list of movies, I came to this one and I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't watched this movie yet. How did I miss it? I'd already watched it.
Oh no.
But that is for me how memorable it was. I mean, it's possible, like maybe I fell asleep because sometimes that happens. But I think it just was not memorable to me. Of course, yes, super fun when we have the Hall-Star guys together, these 3 in particular. I love the inspiration for these movies, 3 Men and a Baby and 3 Men and a Little Girl. I love those movies with all my heart. So I like the premise. I did not love this movie. It's not in my top 10, but I fear what Brian's intentions are. So
That's
I'm not going to
offensive. You'll be
veto
hearing from my representation. No comment.
it. Yeah, I'm not going to veto this because the thing is, you didn't ask me, so I'm just going to put it in here. My feelings on this year's batch of movies is that there were so many good ones. I don't necessarily think there were as many breakout amazing ones, amazing as far as a Hallmark movie goes, but there were so many good ones. I feel like my top 15 to 20 could be in the top 10. So, all that to say, this is not in my top 10, but it doesn't actually offend me, probably because I already forgot what we were talking about. I'm not going to veto.
She's not going to veto it. It's going to stand at number 10. Brian said you'll hear from his lawyers. I'm pretty sure that might have cost you a book purchase as well, Mary. But you stand your ground.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I've got to.
Got it. You got to do it. You got to do it. All
I've
right,
got
Vanessa.
morals.
Vanessa, she's got morals. Good. Yes, exactly. Vanessa, good for you. You've locked in your first one. Congratulations. Number 10.
Yay.
Brian, it's up to you. Number 9. What are you going to play?
Yep. Number 9, I am playing Holiday Crashers. One of the first movies of the season, and it stayed pretty high on my list from the get-go there. Very fun premise, different, fun, friends, almost a friend comedy, a buddy comedy, which is different. And so it just, I had a good time with it. It stayed in it stayed really high on my list. I don't think it left the top 10 the whole season for me. And so I feel like it deserves a spot on the list.
Holiday Crashers, Lindsay Fonseca, always a good time, right? You've got Daniela Monet as Bree, Chris McNally is Justin, Jag Ball is Vinny. So this is all about these two women who are out there to just have a good time, crash these holiday parties. They make up stories about who they are and what their jobs are. And along the way, Bree has eyes for Vinny, a valet who may have a secret of his own. And Justin has a crush on Tony. So it's a great romp, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to describe a great romp. I should have said that.
So Ryan's played Holiday Crashers at number 9. Mary, what do you think of Holiday Crashers?
A great romp.
It was a great romp. No, I really liked it. It is not in the
Wait,
top
what's
10
wrong with the word romp?
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Brian's the weird one.
I'm not making it weird.
I'm very uncomfortable now. Go ahead, Mary. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Holiday
that's
romp.
okay. That's
Holiday
okay. No,
Crashers.
I really liked Holiday Crashers. It last minute, as I was typing my list to send to you, I bumped it out of my top 10. So, I mean, I'm not doing myself any favors as far as like winning this thing overall, but for the integrity of the list, I can't really argue against it either. It was super fun. And I think you guys know I watched a lot of these movies with my youngest, my 11-year-old daughter, and she was a huge fan, and she would be sorely disappointed to know that I even took it out of the top 10. So again, no veto.
No veto from Mary. This one actually was number 1 on my personal list for a long time. It was one of these ones, like you had just said, Mary, where it was moving in and out of my 10 list as the season went on. I won't tell you where, if anywhere, it ended up. But Vanessa, I know from you that you actually liked this movie. Tell everybody what you did with this movie regarding this draft.
So I loved Holiday Crashers. Definitely in my top. Do I think that the entire community of Hallmark viewers loved it? I don't. So I'm actually really happy to hear everyone on this podcast right now liking it as much as I did, because I was really surprised at like the lack of sort of good reception that this movie received. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was different. I thought it was really fun. I just like I watched it again. I loved it. I do think. Nah, I was going to go into it about other movies, but no, I just want to stick to Holiday Crashers. And I loved it. I would keep it here, if not higher. It was a great movie.
I feel like
But you
you're
didn't.
legally obligated to call it a good romp, though, and you haven't. So
You know what? I'm gonna
to
go
be
ahead and
fair.
say that Holiday Crashers, it was a good romp.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
There
was.
it
Yep, yep.
It is the year of the romp. But Vanessa, you didn't put it on your list. That's what I
I
was getting at.
Yeah, right. So I didn't put it on my list that I submitted,
Right.
but it is on my personal list.
That's right. That's right.
So I made two separate rankings. So two separate ranking lists. I have like my personal top 10 that I love, and then the top 10 best ones that I think my taste is it's different. There are some movies that I love that a lot of people do not like. So like, like the Veil movies I love. Cherry Lane, I love. So,
Love Cherry Lane. I love
right, me too. But I know that a lot of people are just sort of not feeling that. And then there was a movie that everybody loved, and I just could not get into it. But maybe we'll get there later. I'll
Okay,
keep
well,
you all in suspense.
if we don't get there later, you are contractually obligated to
Yeah.
say what it is after the list has been drafted, or
The
you'll hear
romp
from
rule.
Brian's lawyers.
Oh, for sure. I will say that that movie was not a romp.
No comment.
No comment, no comment.
Okay,
All
you are
right.
so strategic, Vanessa. I
Yeah,
feel a little
unprepared.
like
Like,
underprepared or
yeah,
something. I
Um,
just made a list.
oh, well, I was like killed last year in the draft. So maybe I'm traumatized.
maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is your comeback.
I hope.
Okay, well, I guess we'll see.
We'll
You
see.
have a trauma list and a public list.
You know who's at the top of my trauma list? Brian Harold.
Oh,
That's right. He won last year's draft, you guys. As you
Mhm.
know, he beat
I
y'all
didn't
last
want to have to
last
say it.
year.
Mhm.
So there, yeah, he's way too modest to say it. Mary, what are you going to play at number 8?
Oh,
Oh, so we're locked in.
You're locked in.
All right.
oh man, my list is already not doing well. So I'm gonna go with Christmas Under the Lights.
Heather Hemmings, Marco Grassini. I love this man. He is so good. Niall Matter and Antonio Caone are in it. Emily, that's Heather, is always reluctant to return home to her family's animal rescue ranch, but when her mother passes away, her brother Nick, that's Antonio, requests her help organizing the annual Christmas carnival. And when she arrives, she discovers Luke, that's Marco, staying at the ranch. And though initially reluctant to collaborate, they work hard together to pull off the best carnival the town has ever seen and maybe fall in love. I don't know. It's a Hallmark movie. I'm not sure if they're going to fall in love or not. Mary, why do you love this movie at number 8?
So it's a little bit lower on my list, but like I said, like we're just now getting into my list. But I really liked it. I mentioned that I watched these movies with my younger daughter, and she really had a journey when watching the commercial for this movie because she saw it at first and it was like cowboy hats, and she's like, nah, I don't want to watch that one. And then she saw Marco Grazzini's face, and she was back. Because mom didn't raise no fool, right? But then because she's little, like he takes his shirt off in that trailer, and she was like, whoa, she was out. She was
ooh.
like, I can't even. Um,
Well, that's what she said in front of you, anyway.
right, right. Who knows anyway. So I don't know. That just tickled me. It has nothing to do with my ranking. I really liked it. I was unsure. Like, is this going to be like, is Hallmark, is this like a Hallmark After Dark? No, that was another movie, as a matter of fact. But I liked Antonio's character I feel like it was very different for him, and maybe even different for most of these movies, just the way he played it. I felt like for the most part, this was a movie about grown-ups, which I always appreciate when they act like grown-ups, they have conversations. They had great chemistry. The animals were very cute. I also thought like her reason for not wanting to come back home, like they really fleshed that out and it made sense. Whereas sometimes it doesn't as much. Um, yeah, I liked it. Heather Hemmings is a little weird to watch for me on Hallmark because I am more familiar with her from that Alien TV show, Roswell,
Roswell.
where she
Yeah.
plays a very non-Hallmark character. Anyway, I liked it. I thought it was good. Good chemistry, good plot, good grown-ups being grown-ups.
Grown-ups being grown-ups for sure. Absolutely. Great chemistry. All right. Brian, your first step in the veto order. What do you think of Christmas Under the Lights?
Yeah, it's not as high on my list. Russ Hainline wrote this one, so obviously really good stuff there. Yeah, Heather Hemmons, Marco Grazzini. I thought there was actually going to be more chemistry than we got, and I was alone in that opinion, from what I gathered from everybody else talking about it. And obviously seeing Antonio in anything is just great. So psyched for him. And the llamas, great to have some animals roaming around. That's always fun. But it's just too low on my list, and so for that reason, I got to veto it. It's time to start playing the
What?
game. We got to take these gloves off. Yeah, I don't. It's not helping me on this top 10. So bye bye.
Right, that's right. Because just as a reminder, listeners, the winner of this match will actually be the first player to be eligible for the 2025 Tournament of Champions. So there's stake involved. It might be rare, it might be medium, it might be well done, who knows? But
Medium
there's
rare,
stake
maybe.
involved. Yeah. All right. Brian is using a veto for Christmas Under the Lights. So Mary, that is his only veto. He only has an override left. So Mary, what are you going to do as a replacement? And while you're thinking about that, um, Erinbeth, what did you think of Christmas Under the Lights?
I liked it. It did not make my top 10. Pretty much anything with animals in it I can get lost in, but I did not feel it was the romp that
Mhm,
Mary felt it
mhm,
was.
mhm.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well played. I'm going to cut your mic now. Go ahead, Mary.
Okay, well, I am shocked. Here we are playing a nice game, and then Brian swoops in
As he does.
with that. Okay. Okay, I've got to regroup. All right, then I'm gonna pick Hanukkah on the Rocks.
Okay. Hanukkah on the Rocks.
Oh, what is this face? What is this reaction?
It's even lower on my list.
Um,
What?
what?
You were the one who
Brian.
you already brought up Mark Summers.
I know. I just because I like what they're doing doesn't mean I like what they're doing.
Oh, you
That
sound
makes sense.
confused.
Okay, Panda. Not.
Who?
Yes, you know who.
R.I.P.
Ahana, Hobbs, yes. But also MVP too. Hanukkah on the Rocks, of course. Julie Sherman Wolfe, we love her. Stacey Farber is Tori. Darren Kagasoff is Jay. So, a recently unemployed lawyer, Tori, embarks on a journey to find Hanukkah candles, leading her to a Chicago bar where she gets roped into bartending, as one does, during Hanukkah, where she connects with the patrons, especially Jay and his grandfather Sam, and finds the courage to pursue a new path in life. I love this movie, and I think that, and I actually told Julie this, I think Stacey Farber actually looks like Julie Sherman Wolfe a lot. I think it's a fantastic choice. I don't care about Brian's face. Hanukkah on the Rocks at number 8. Mary, tell us why you love it. I do care
Okay,
about your
so this
face, Brian.
movie,
I'm
this movie
sorry.
really surprised me. I hadn't heard anything about it really going into it, and I don't remember seeing that main actress in anything before this year. Maybe I have, but I didn't remember. And the main guy, I forget what his name is, but that's because in my heart I really wanted him to be played by Bobby Campo.
The actor who played Jay,
Yeah.
Darren Kagasoff. I
Yeah,
wasn't
no
familiar
offense to
with
him.
him.
I just wanted
Yeah.
him to be different. So getting into it, I was just like, I was not really excited, but it's on the list, so whatever, I watch it. And then I ended up really liking it. I love the side characters, loved Mark Summers' character, loved that he said I double dare you. That brought me so much delight. It's the little things. Yeah, I don't know. I really liked it, and so I wanted it on my list. So that's what I did, Brian.
So, Brian, you don't have a veto, but I
Right.
do care
I
about your face, and we all
thank
care
you.
about your thoughts. So, tell us what your thoughts are on Hanukkah on the Rocks, even though you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I know. I realize I am virtually alone in this being so low, and I don't know. I don't have a great reason. I really love Stacey Farber. She was in a movie last year with not Carl Marx. Brendan Penny, where he owned like a ski shop and she was a single mother and they connected.
Oh, yeah.
She is great. I love Stacey Farber. Mark Summers being in it was so fun. The side characters are great. All the traditions. Rena pointed out so many great little things that they included in this movie that made this movie stand out and be unique and special. I appreciate all that stuff. I think it really just came down to I watched this on a plane on the way to Christmas Con, and I didn't like the chemistry between the leads. And so everything else was sort of like not working for me. And so it just hit, maybe it was just like it hit me at the wrong time. And I don't have time to go back and watch these movies again. It just did not work for me when I watched it. And I'm kind of bummed because I know a lot of people really like it, and I can't pretend I like it. The chemistry just did not work for me at all. Darren Kagasoff with Stacey, I don't know. I just didn't believe them. And so I was like, nope, not into it. But Mark Summers, a lot of fun. Him and Stacey together, him and virtually anybody together, like that. Anytime though the couples were involved, I was just like, I'm not interested in this. I am glad it's in the top 10, though it's not that high for me. I'm glad it's here.
I don't think they had a lot of chemistry, but I love the cast overall and I love the writing and I learned a lot. In fact, I saw it was the other Hanukkah movie, Leah's
Perfect Gift, yeah.
Perfect Gift. And when I was
That was a
watching
romp.
that was not a romp.
Oh, I'm using it wrong again.
Oh, that was not a romp.
No.
It was
It was
something though.
not a romp. It was something. But when they were
Wow.
talking about the Hanukkah candles, and I saw that theirs were all solid blue, I was like, oh, well, those are the cheaper ones because in Hanukkah on the Rocks, they were talking about the gradient ones, right? So I love that. Vanessa, rescue me from digging a bigger hole here. You're the only one who can impact this at this point because Mary played it. Hanukkah on the Rocks at number 8. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm in. I've really enjoyed this movie. Yeah, for sure. I think Brian, someone needs to like check on him. I don't know what's going on with him. That's a separate issue.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
I thought Hanukkah on the Rocks was really it was fun. I liked it. There were different elements. I liked the guy who was sitting at the bar, like writing like a novel on the napkins or something. It just like little things that were funny.
Yeah, it was well done. It was really well done. All right, so we have at number 10, Three Wiser Men and a Boy. At 9, Holiday Crashers. At 8, Hanukkah on the Rocks. And Vanessa, it is back to you for number 7.
Oh,
What do you,
shoot.
I know.
All
What do
right,
you,
so
what
let's
are you
see.
thinking? Well,
Um, all right. I'm gonna put in number 7. I'm going to go Christmas with the Sings.
Christmas with the Sings. Anujay Joshi is Asha. Ben Hollingsworth is Jake. It's a magical year together. Jake proposes to her, and when they head home for the holidays, they quickly discover their picture-perfect romance is about to get a serious reality check. Their families couldn't be more different. Juggling various holiday traditions, big personalities, cultural differences, and complicated family dynamics proves to be a challenge as Asha and Jake have to learn if they can bridge two families and survive a Christmas with the Sings. It's a great ensemble cast, great script, lots of fun, not entirely a romp. There were some serious adult conversations happening. Vanessa, why do you love this movie for number 7?
I like the idea of the families blending the mix of culture. Sort of reminds me of me and my husband, my culture. I come from like a very strong culture, and when he came in, it was like very new, very different, which just sort of spoke to me personally there. There were just parts that made me laugh, like when, like the dad like tricked him into eating the really spicy food. I had an uncle who tricked my husband into eating something really spicy. So it just really was, I don't know, I guess on a more personal level, it spoke to me a lot.
It's a great movie. I love the whole story arc and when the bridge did finally happen and the father coming around. And just Asha, the actress who played Asha, I think just did such a great job. So, Brian, Christmas with the Sings.
Yep.
You
I don't
can't
have a veto.
impact it. You don't have a
That's
veto.
that's right. This is not on my top 10, but I haven't like looking at my whole list of all the movies, I have it a lot lower than I feel like I should have. This movie was really fun. The Greatest Dad of the season, possibly of memory, maybe of all dads. Manju Sood, Manoj Sood. I'm sorry. He was phenomenal, so funny, stole the show. So glad, if for nothing else, that we got him this season. On top of it, this movie was really fun and entertaining. And it would be actually, I wouldn't mind seeing more from this in this universe either, because I feel like they could do a lot here. There's so many characters. And so, yeah, not mad at I'm mad in the sense that I don't have it so high that it's going to help me, but I like seeing it on this list.
Brian likes seeing it on this list. Mary, what about you? Sitting there with three vetoes in your pocket. What do you think of Christmas with the Sings?
Well, I have it on my list. I have it at number 8. So I feel like this is pretty spot on. I loved so many things about this movie. I loved how they did that passage of time where they're showing them through the seasons as they're dating. And the actress who plays Asha, very talented, but also, my gosh, so pretty. She's so beautiful.
Beautiful.
I wasn't super comfortable with some of the conflict and the hazing. I just wanted them to be nicer. But it paid off because they worked through it. And I think if this was a movie like in the theater, that conflict would have built into a super outlandish, outrageous situation where like everything would have blown up in a messy, ugly, horrible way. And if this were a normal Hallmark movie, everyone would have just been a lot nicer from the get-go, and it would have been way more bland. So I like what they did. I really liked at the end when the dad and Asha have a conversation and they are real with each other. It was such a turnaround for him in such a short amount of time. I think that kind of colors how we look back and see the rest of the movie. Like, oh, he's not a jerk. He was just testing them out of love. So anyway, all that to say, I really liked it. I thought it was great. I think Brian's right that, yeah, we could see another movie in this universe. I wouldn't mind that. Not necessarily a sequel, but in the same extended family.
Yeah, all
So
right. So Christmas with the Sings at number 7. That dad really was great. Both dads actually were really great. I'm trying to think of the name of the movie that I have ranked absolutely dead last, number 50 on my list. He was the worst dad on the planet, and I can't think of it right now, but it was
To
the
have
one.
into holiday.
Ugh,
Yes.
yes.
Pastor
That's
Daddy.
the worst dad ever.
What a romp.
worst.
Okay,
This
but
is
can I
not
just say, why did
still not using it correctly, Brian. Go ahead,
why
Mary.
did Ben Hollingsworth's character not tell his parents to just take off their shoes? Like he didn't give them he didn't prep them at all.
No.
So they come
Yeah.
in like a couple of yokels and look like jerks. Sorry, I know we're moving on, but I will never move on from that.
It's fine. We all have our things, and that's fine.
Mhm.
It's okay. Brian, what do you think you're going to play for number 6?
All right, number 6.
Yeah.
I liked Holiday Mismatch because this was sort of again, a unique storyline where the moms are central characters. And I know when I was watching Holiday Mismatch, I was really rooting for them to be friends. And I thought that they were funny, and I thought it was a fun premise. And I realized that not as many people liked it, but it's sort of hey, let's do more of these types of ideas vote. And I really think that it's a higher quality movie than it's sort of an underdog in my opinion. And I like it on the list.
Brian likes it on the list. So you can never go wrong with Caroline Rhea. She's great. She's always a good time. You've got Beth Broderick as Barbara, the other mom. She's in practically every Hallmark movie as the mom. John McLaren is Shane. Maxine Dennis is Lauren. So you've got fresh faces, new to Hallmark. And like you said, this is really basically more about the moms clashing. One is recently retired and she's, going to volunteer at a bazaar and she's very business oriented, and the other mom is more free spirited and everything, very, very different. Then they discover that their kids are basically going to develop this friendship and have this romantic interest. But the real focus of the film is more about the character development of the moms. Holiday Mismatch, interesting choice. Mary, I can't tell by your face what you think of Holiday Mismatch. I kind of think I know the word that's going to come out of your mouth, but I don't want to assume.
A romp.
I know it's not going to be romp.
Ah,
Aw.
No, it is not. It is not.
classic romp.
Listen, first of all, it needs to be said, there is a job that exists of a professional person working a job to plan community events for the Chamber of Commerce. It's possible that on another podcast we all know and love, that was there was some skepticism about, is this a real job? I've held this job, so I'd like to say yes.
Men, they're just men. They don't
Yes,
know these
men.
things.
It is a
Men,
real
they're-
job. Freaking love that
Yeah,
job.
just
but
like being a mom is a real job. Come on, Mary.
Oh, there we go. That's true. I don't get paid for it.
That's Brian Harold
No health
at
insurance there. Anyway,
romp.com.
Brian is also against the troops, so we really can't trust anything he says.
and teachers, he thinks they get paid too much.
Mhm.
They say they would do it for the goodness of their heart, so let them. I mean,
Okay, so that aside, I was excited for this movie because I freaking love Sabrina the Teenage Witch as a child and as an adult when I rewatched it with my kids. I mean, partly just because it has a talking cat, but I was excited for this movie and it was terrible. I did not like it. I thought it was annoying. I didn't like the premise. And yeah, I'm going to veto it. Veto.
ooh,
Veto.
Can't have it. I don't like it on the list.
Veto.
Oh.
Well, he could always play it higher. You never know with Brian.
that is
Um,
true.
So
Don't worry, I got more.
Mary. That's true. That is true. All right, we're gonna cross off one veto for you, Brian.
Oh
What are you gonna
no.
put in its place?
Oh no, the movie I didn't even have my top 10 got vetoed. What am I gonna
I
do?
wasn't going to out you on that.
Or was it? All right. At number 6, I feel like we can all rally around Sugar Plumbed. What a phenomenal movie. 6, probably maybe too low, but let's get it on up there.
Sugar Plumbed, Maggie Lawson, formerly of Psych, one of my all-time favorite TV series. Love it. Janelle Parrish is Sugar Plum, Maggie Lawson's Emily. So Emily's wish for a picture-perfect Christmas comes true when a magical, optimistic movie character steps off the screen to help. But as things spiral out of control, she learns that true holiday perfection might look very different from what she imagined. My notes say this is a ride. I'm going to cross that out and say this is
Yeah.
a romp.
Yeah,
I think it's quirky, it's over the top fun. Janelle Parrish was just perfection in this role. Love this role, Brian. Tell us what you loved about Sugar Plum.
Janelle Parrish in this role, almost born to be Sugar Plum. Like, phenomenal. What a cool idea. Ryan Landals wrote and directed this, also wrote and directed Santa Tell Me, his first, what I can see, 2 Hallmark movies, just killed it. Just like so happy for him. So cool. And even on Deck the Hallmark, we had Brett White on, who said he wants to, like, this would be a great idea for a movie that is a Sugar Plum like type of movie, a movie that she would be in as Sugar Plum, and that would be fun to see. So there's like levels and layers to this. Just so good, just so good. I had a really good time with this movie.
Great time, great ride, great romp,
Absolutely.
great Mary. What do you think about Sugar Plum? Does the replacement for number 6? Uh-oh.
Well, Lynn,
Oh.
I do believe I hated this movie more than any other movie this year.
Wow.
That's shocking.
Oh,
Wow.
open mouths. Every listener's every
Wow.
mouth is opened, except for Mary, who was smiling.
This is
from
worse
ear to
than
ear.
me not liking Troops and saying moms and teachers don't deserve anything.
I mean, now I'm questioning, like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, we all are.
I mean, I have been in a bit of a dark place, but I really felt like it was I felt like I was
Mary,
How can
can
you
you
guys?
write Mary, you need to write a devotional about sugar plums. I am just
Well, I need to write something, don't I? Yeah, gosh. Whew.
tell us your feels. What happened?
Oh, it was just so annoying. It was so annoying. But also, I will tell you, since you asked, everyone get comfortable. I realized, and I did realize this courtesy of a little Netflix film called Hot Frosty, that I really, really dislike movies with that are centered around the trope of an idiot. And I don't mean idiot as an insult, but like a person who, for whatever reason, doesn't know how the world works.
Fish out of water,
Like
right?
a fish out of water. So like a
Idiot.
snowman that comes to life, an elf that comes to the real world. Sorry, but not sorry. A mannequin that comes to life, an alien that comes to the world. Um, yeah.
I'm sorry. Could we just rewind for a second? Like a quick second? Do you mean to tell me that you don't like the Will Ferrell movie Elf?
In theory, I do. Like we watch it every year,
In theory,
but it just goes on a bit long, and
you know those
it's
Christmas feels. In theory, this theoretical Christmas feels.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh,
I'm trying to be honest here. I've learned this about myself.
I was gonna say I actually love the honesty. I mean, I'm really shocked though.
It's her
I-
anagram number. It's her anagram number coming through.
Mm.
I'm a little shocked myself. I didn't realize this. The hot snowman brought it out. But I think that's a little bit what's at play with Sugar Plumbed. But also, I am a huge Psych fan, but Maggie Lawson was super annoying in this movie. Like, just chill, girl. Just chill out. You don't have to be like this. Look at your kids' faces.
Mhm.
Listen to your daughter.
I agree with that.
Your daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
I
not
didn't
wrong.
like
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna veto it. I'm gonna veto it. I can't. I know.
Double
Wow, all right.
veto.
Yeah.
So Mary
over here doing all the
uses
heavy lifting, Vanessa.
one,
Anytime you want
number
to step in.
2.
All
Vanessa.
right.
Wow. And by the way, I meant Enneagram, not anagram. Just like,
I knew what you meant.
thank
I
you.
thought maybe,
It's like
You're
the
just a
difference
fish
between
out
a
of water.
romp and a ramp.
I
So
I really don't know if we can even continue after the realization that you don't like Elf.
Yeah.
she's
I like
fine.
Elf. I just don't love Elf. I just don't.
Like our only like really modern day classic that's just
I
like
know.
anything
Hey,
that's
you
come out in
guys,
like in the last 20 years.
listen, don't tell Dan, okay? We might not be able to be friends anymore. Don't tell
That's
him.
right, because this is just between us. Nobody
Yeah,
else is
Between
going
us.
to hear
Mhm.
this.
Just between us.
Us and
Brian,
each other.
you are still at bat, Brian. I think
Oh
you're gonna
boy.
try to go for number
This is
for
this
number
is
3.
tricky because she's all lubed up here with her vetoes. Do I go for the trifecta?
Well, I was really not sure what the rest of that comment was going to
She's
be.
she's all warmed up. She's got her veto cards handy. Like,
Not getting better.
do I just keep it going?
Brian.
Do I try to keep the vetoes coming?
No, you
Um,
need to play something in good faith, something you can really justify.
Good faith in my best interest, of course. You
I've heard it
know,
both ways. Yes.
for the sake of, all Easter devotionals, boy, this is really tough because I had a whole plan here. This, I thought this is shocking. I didn't think there was a chance Sugar Plum was getting taken out of this spot. This was everything after this hinged on Sugar Plum for me. I want Sugar Plum on this list. Now, if I have to play it later, it messes up something else. This is not how this game is supposed to go.
But it's okay because you have number 4, so it's only 2 more spots.
I have 4 and 2.
You have 4 and 2. Yeah.
But I already have ideas for those spots, and I don't want Sugar Plum. I mean, it could, but I don't really. All right. I'm gonna play Confessions of a Christmas Letter at spot 6.
Confessions of a Christmas Letter. So
That's
this
right.
is Angela Kinsey is Seti Rose. Alex Santos is Juan. Lillian Dujet Roche is Lily. Brian Baumgartner from The Office is in this. This is a romp, Brian.
It
This is a
sure is.
romp. It sure is. So Letty Rose, Dercetti Rose is a quirky family mom. She enters her town's annual holiday letter writing contest. There's so much wrong with this movie, but I loved it. I can't even say any of this with a straight face. But she needs help. She wants to win. She's never won. This one other woman is always winning. So she turns to this novelist that she's read his books, Juan, and she hires him to craft the perfect family Christmas letter. So he comes over, lots of mix-ups. There's a rumor, people get very confused, and her neighbors are thinking that Juan is engaged to Seti's daughter, Lily. The whole family is scrambling to keep up with the charade.
Sherrod.
Hijinks ensue, charade, ramp, romp, whatever. Hijinks ensue, and basically everybody comes together. It's a feel-good movie. I laughed a lot in this movie. Angela Kinsey was a delight, and I hate Christmas letters, just on
Oh,
principle. Love the
of
movie.
course.
Of course I do. But I do love Elf, so you have that.
Mhm.
Brian, tell us why you love this movie for number 6. Not why you love it, but you played it because
Yeah.
3 strikes,
Um,
you're out.
of course. I did not expect. I was hopeful with this movie. I didn't expect to like it all that much. I was so surprised at how funny it was and how well everybody fit in that world. It wasn't gimmicky like a lot of people kind of assumed it would be. It's like, oh, we're going to get a couple office people together and make a Hallmark Christmas movie. This, sure, whatever. Lillian Doucette Roche, who's been in a bunch of these, was perfect in this role as a not struggling, but she's an up and coming actor, and she got to just be so extra, and it was like so good. It was so great. I thought this was the funniness of it was so clever and so many little things. Like when I watch this movie, like these movies, I pay a lot of attention. When I watch them with Bran and Dan, it's really distracting for Deck the Hallmark because they will not watch every scene or like they're distracted, they're talking, and like there's so many little things that after I had seen it, I was kind of like telling them, hey, check this out, watch this, because I didn't want them to miss the little nuances. So really surprised me. Really fun, had a good time. Wanted on this list.
Wanted on this list. Do you think maybe it's all the candy that they eat that
That
distracts them?
maybe that was I didn't think of it. Now I'm thinking back. My sweet. Maybe it got to my sweet tooth.
Sweet tooth, maybe that was it.
Maybe that
Mary, you have one veto left. I
Oh,
don't
does
know.
she?
It would be a first if a single person was vetoed 3 times by the same person on the same ranking. It would almost be worth it, but only follow your heart, Mary. Even though you don't like Elf, I don't know how much heart there is, but there you have it.
What heart?
Right.
Confessions of a
I'm
Christmas Letter. What do you
I'm
think?
obviously Grinch at the beginning of the movie. Yeah, no, I did not like this movie. I liked it more than I thought I would. So there's that. I mean, Angela Kinsey like plays another character. It's like, can you just chill out? Which I know that was the point. So I appreciated at least, I don't know, it was a point in a more realistic way than obviously Sugar Plumbed. Yeah, I'm not going to veto. It's fine. It's not my choice. It is like in my 3rd or 4th quadrant of movies, but I got to go with my head actually, because I'm playing against Brian here.
That's right. Okay, so Mary's gonna let it stand. Vanessa, you could veto Brian and still keep him stuck on 6th base here, or you can release him from this
Story of my
hell.
life.
What are you
Um,
gonna do?
I didn't love this movie. It's definitely not in my top 10, but I'm fine with keeping it here.
It's
Just
a fine.
just thinking about what's ahead and what needs to be ahead.
It's gonna stay.
It's gonna stay.
It's gonna stay. All right. Not exactly a ringing endorsement, but everybody, we did it. We have a movie locked in at number 6. It is Confessions of a Christmas Letter. All right, that brings us to Mary at number 5. What are you gonna play?
Oh my gosh, how are we so high up already?
I know, halfway
Already.
through.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say Christmas on Call.
Christmas on Call. Sarah Canning is
Mhm.
Hannah. C. Darius Blaine is Wes. So this was directed by Jeff Beasley. He was one of the directors that I mentioned at the top of the show. So he did Following Yonder Star, A Carol for Two, as well. He's got a banger filmography for Hallmark. So we're going to do a draft of his movies in 2026. There's some really excellent ones. Lots of favorites on this list. Anyway, for Christmas on Call, in the lead up to Christmas, emergency room doctor Hannah juggles her demanding job and a budding romance with EMT Wes in Philadelphia. They spend time together. Wes helps her become more acquainted with the sights, sounds, and tastes of Philly. It's clear they're starting to fall for each other. And as the local first responders balance duty with holiday celebrations, they come together to face challenges, support each other, and find moments of joy. Christmas on Call at number five. Mary, tell us about this movie and why you love it for number five.
I just thought it was really cute. I really liked Sarah Canning. Um, what's the actor that played the main guy?
C. Darius Blaine.
Yes. I feel
C.
like I've seen
Darius.
him
Yeah,
on something
that's
else, but
great.
maybe not a Hallmark movie. I forget, but I really liked him. I thought they were great together. Um, yeah, I just really liked it. I
A lot
I
of
got nothing
people
else
love
for
this
you.
movie. No, a lot of people love this movie. I've seen it once. I've heard other people talking about it, and I think maybe Brian, like you were saying, I was distracted when watching it, so I didn't have my full attention, so I didn't pick up a lot of the finer points. So I think I need to give it its due and watch it again. So, Brian, what are your thoughts on Christmas on Call, even though you don't have a veto? What are you thinking?
This one's okay to me. It's not super high on my list. But there's nothing I can do about that. A lot of people did seem to enjoy it more than I did, and so I guess it has a place here. It seems
Mhm.
It seems it has a place here at number five, but only if Vanessa
that's
says
super
it
high,
does. Yeah.
super high.
Brian, I have a question. I'm wondering if maybe you don't have this as high on your list because you also don't support first
Supports
responders.
first responders. Yeah. I
I think
guess if
so.
you consider like firefighters, EMTs, if they're responding at all, then sure. I mean, whatever. Yeah, maybe that plays into it.
Yeah,
Sure. That might
yeah.
have something to do with it. I'll have to think about that.
Hmm,
Is there a devotional for that?
Well, there should be.
And
And the
Mary's,
cheesesteak looked like trash in this movie. The cheesesteak looked terrible. Was it in
oh,
this movie? I believe it was it this one or a different one? I think it was this one because this is
it was
Philly.
this one,
It's the
Philly.
Philly
Looked
one. Yeah.
awful. Yeah.
The Philly one.
And this is Erica Tuvley's in this.
Totally.
It is the best. Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this movie. This is on my personal list. I thought it was great.
Not your
I'm good
trauma
with keeping
list?
it here. Not my trauma list. Nope.
All right, so it's going to stay at number five.
Oh, it's so
Okay,
high.
Hmm.
that's okay. It's the way that the game is played.
I'd
All
like to use
right,
my veto override.
you can't.
Oh,
That's not how it works. That is not at all how it works. All right, Brian. So I'm going to do a quick state of the list as you're thinking about your number four because you are back up at bat. At number
okay.
10, we have Three Wise Men and a Boy. At nine, Holiday Crashers. At eight, Hanukkah on the Rocks. At seven, Christmas with the Sings. At six, finally, Confessions of a Christmas Letter. At five, Christmas on Call. And at four, Brian Harold, surprise us. What are you going to play?
Holiday touchdown, a Chiefs love story.
Holiday Touchdown, a Chiefs love story. Wow, this movie was promoted so heavily across not just Hallmark channels, but network TV, everywhere. You could not escape the promotions for this movie. Julie Sherman Wolfe again wrote another banger script. You've got Hunter King as Alana, Tyler Hines as Derek. Ed Begley Jr. makes an appearance. Donna Kelsey makes an appearance. Wes Brown shows up. Jenna Bush Hager is in it. Who's not in this movie, right? So you've got Alana Higman is sure that her family's lifelong history as a Kansas City Chiefs superfan makes them a front runner to win the team's Fan of the Year contest. And Derek, director of fan engagement, that's Tyler, is tasked with evaluating Alana and her family, and how they stack up against two other finalists. And as these two spend time together, it's clear there's a spark between them. But when her grandfather's vintage chief's good luck winter hat goes missing, Alana begins to doubt everything she believed about fate, destiny, and even questions her future with Derek. Unless, that is, a little Christmas magic can throw a Hail Mary. Brian, why do you like this movie for number 4?
Yeah, I thought that the story was really great. The script was excellent. The cast phenomenal. Everybody in the cast was so good. It just delivered, in my opinion. I know there was a ton of promotion for it, and I think that worked against it at a certain point. I was able to avoid a lot of that because I just didn't have to watch a lot of the stuff on TV, which was pretty helpful. So I avoided a lot of the promotion, and I feel like if I had been bombarded with the promotion, it would have made me kind of resentful a little bit. So I could see how I know that affected a lot of people's viewing experience, which they got to figure that out because that's tough when you're just beating down your viewership that's already going to watch the movie with promotion for a movie. So that's tough, but I feel like it delivered. Like they put a lot behind it, and it wasn't a letdown, I don't think. And so really, really had a great time with this movie. The emotions came through. I thought it was really authentic. And so I got it at number 4.
Brian's got it at number 4. You're a football fan in general, too. You know, there's a
Yeah, I
lot of
like football.
speculation. Yeah, well, yeah, you do. Even though you're not living
It's a
in
romp.
Patriots Nation, and football's not a romp. That's not, you're still not using it correctly.
Oh, man.
You know,
So
I think maybe Hallmark was trying to broaden their audience with all the net promotions on TV, and then pull in the people that thought that maybe this was going to be a Taylor Swift, Kelsey love fest story, and Julie Sherman Wolf is making it clear, no, that's not what it's about. So maybe part of the unenthusiasm when it aired from group of people was that it wasn't what they expected it was going to be. They had a preconceived notion of the story that it was going to tell, right? So, but still a great movie. Can never go wrong with Tyler Hynes at all, and Julie Sherman Wolf and her writing talent. So great combination there. Mary, what are you thinking? Holiday touchdown. I see a little bit of a smile. Holiday touchdown, a Chiefs love story at number 4.
Yeah, so I live in Kansas City. I can from my seat see Chiefs gear, my husband's stuff. So I feel a little bit like a traitor in my feelings on this movie. I wasn't able to avoid the promotion. Not fancy like Brian. And but also I live here, you know. It was just so gimmicky. It was so gimmicky. I'd probably feel differently if I didn't live here. If I wasn't able to say like, okay, that is not authentic, or that is not really how it is, or because I wouldn't know, you know, if it's just like I just picked one about Philadelphia because I've been there, but I don't live there, so I don't know what's real Philly and what's not. But I do live here. This is not in my top 10. It is not, and I didn't even love the story. I didn't love the family. Okay, I didn't love the mom and the grandma. They were obnoxious. Obviously, Ed Begley Jr.'s character was a delight. The thing with the seats at the end was a delight. Her deciding she can't be with this guy because a hat goes missing? What even? So I didn't like it. And I just want that on the record because I'm not going to use my last veto for this. I'm hoping that Vanessa's going to do the right thing. I think this is what she was hinting at earlier. I don't know, maybe not. Ah, darn it.
Vanessa
I was
gave a
looking
little
to,
head shake, but you never know.
yeah, I was going
Could
to
just
live
be
with
a
it
nervous
because
twitch that she has. You never know.
I know a lot of people loved it. So if I'm being strategic and thinking what is the best list, I guess this would be on it. It's just not on mine, but I'm not going to veto.
Mary is not going to veto it. Vanessa, she's counting on you to do the right thing, or maybe not do the right thing, because a lot of people loved this movie. What did you think of this movie?
I am one of those people. I loved this movie. I watched the extended cut version on Hallmark Plus. I don't know what the difference was. I didn't like really care enough to sort of go back and forth and compare. Maybe the extended cut is the one that was so good. I don't know. I loved this movie and like it made me happy, it made me smile, it made me laugh. I thought this was a romp.
This
That's
is a
how you
romp.
use it.
That's how you use it. Perfect. All right. Wow. We are to the final three here. Vanessa, I'm going to give you a second to think about what you want to
Thank
play
you.
because we are out of runway. Erinbeth, Holiday Touchdown, a Chief's love story. What did you think of this romp of a movie?
Mary and I agree on a movie. It's like the whole time I'm like, I don't think Mary and I could sit and watch movies together. My family is from Kansas, from the Kansas City area. My mom came from there. I've spent many and many, many weeks of my life there. So I wonder if that plays into it because even from, and I waited and watched it with my mom. We watched it together because she loves the Chiefs, and they kept trying to play this like Kansas City is this tiny little hometown feel. And I'm like, this is a metropolitan city that actually spans two states. But there was just so much. So I'm wondering if that plays into it. I know that this movie was well received by a great many people, but it was just okay to me. And it I wanted it to be so much more. Mary, did you feel that way? Like, did you want it to be so much more? And it was like,
Yes.
oh,
Well, because I get so tired of people in general being critical, ignorantly critical of Hallmark movies. Like, oh, Hallmark movies are so stupid. Hallmark movies are a waste of time. Hallmark movies are like, no, like we can say that because we watch them and they're ours. Like you can't say that.
that's right.
And so I didn't want this to do what it did, which was give those people more fuel. Because I saw several people, like people that I know locally in my Facebook feed talking about how awful it was. I'm like, well, it just was not the best representation of a Hallmark movie, in my opinion.
In your
Not
opinion.
Vanessa's.
Vanessa, don't take that lying down. Number three. This is it, guys. The top three on this list that will have your three names on it. No finger pointing here. Vanessa, what are you gonna play?
This is so hard. And I'm still like every second I keep changing my mind. There's like three or four that I'm really trying to decide between and place and do this the right way. But I'm gonna go with A Carol for Two.
Who knew? Who knew? A
Who
Carol for
knew?
two.
Oh,
Who
oh
knew?
no. Hmm.
A Carol for Two. Wow. Gina Claire Mason is Violet. Jordan Litz, oh my gosh, is Alex. This is written by Nina Weinman. We're doing a draft of her movies next year, so just throw this into the bucket that she has. They're all bangers. This is directed by Jeff Beasley. I mentioned him already. He did Following Yonder Star, Christmas on Call that was just played. So who knew? Um, After moving to New York to make it on Broadway, Violet gets a job at Fiore's, a legendary theater district diner, famous for its singing waitstaff, and luck seems to be on her side when she gets a coveted slot singing during their annual Christmas Eve concert. But her big opportunity turns out to be a duet with Alex, who has been less than welcoming. They rehearse together. Alex's cousin Brad takes an interest in Violet, and they begin dating. But when Alex begins developing feelings for her as well, a love triangle ensues. And this movie is eligible for the Don't Make Me Sing draft in 2026. Who knew? Vanessa, why do you love this movie at number three?
I really enjoyed it. I like that it was different. We haven't seen anything like this. I know that there are places like this in New York City where people sing. I love that it's showing how hard these people work. You know, like there are so many people who may be the absolute best, like the biggest stars in their town, and they come to New York City. And even though they may be super, super talented, they may not make it. And it has nothing to do with how talented they are. It's just sort of how it is there. I like that it's showcasing that. I will say though that that cousin Brad drove me so insane that while I loved like the fun and the singing in that part of the movie, man, he was so annoying. But I guess that's sort of what makes like a movie, right? If something evokes such a strong emotion, I guess they're doing it right. And that definitely evoked strong emotion for me because I couldn't stand him at all.
He was fantastic in that role. I don't have the actor's name off the top of my
Mhm.
head. I'm sorry, but you did a great job because I loved hating him. It was just fun. Brian, what do you think of Carol for Two at number three, even though you can't veto it? Did you like this movie?
I love this movie. I love this at 3. This was one of my favorite movies the whole year, the whole season since it aired. The singing was live, which is makes I feel like makes a world of difference in these movies. It comes across, especially when you have people who can really sing. Brad, yeah, people hated Brad. Brad didn't annoy me as so much that it ruined anything for me. I heard Jeff on an interview say that they cut out a lot of the footage of him that was more like funny versus like goofy doofus type of thing. And so I think there's a version of Brad that's more likable, maybe more comedic. Yeah, this is great. This belongs in the top 3, and there's an argument that could be anywhere in the top 3, and I'm psyched about this.
Okay, Brian is psyched about this. It's on the top three. Is it, Mary? Is it going to be number three on this list?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I had it as number 4. I loved it. I loved all the music. They were so good. And I thought the way that they, like the way that it was part of the movie was really natural. I agree with Vanessa that Brad was the worst. But I will say, I felt like he was so super annoying. But then there was something about his relationship with Alec outside of any girls. Like their relationship together, I thought it was unique. And I felt like we could have gotten more of the backstory of why Alec felt like he owed Brad because Brad's family had taken him in. Like obviously there was that undercurrent that they just only had time to hint at in the very short Hallmark movie length. But I thought that was interesting. I also loved how they had very tiny apartments. I thought that was maybe the first time we've actually seen something like that, where an apartment was a realistic size
Mhm.
in the big city. So that was cool. I hope we get more of Jordan Litz. That's what I'll say.
Same.
That was great.
He's a
Who
romp.
knew? He's
I mean, probably.
probably probably could be a romp. I don't think you're wrong about that, Brian. All right, we have a Carol for Two at number three. Vanessa, you did it. You're finished with casting some picks, but you still have a veto and a veto override that you
Mhm.
could use in the next two picks. And especially Brian at number two, you're going to make your last choice here. What are you going to play?
At number 2, I'm putting the Santa Claus. Love this movie.
Santa Claus. This was a romp, Brian. This was
I'd
a
agree.
romp. This was a total romp.
You're using it
Again,
properly, yes.
I am. Written by Russell Hainline, right?
Right.
To just, so much love for this guy. You've got Kim Sustad as Kate, Ben Ayers as Stan, Paul Campbell plays himself throughout the films. Very funny. Um, so basically, Kate finds herself reluctantly taking over her father's once acclaimed and now struggling Santa school. And in the weeks leading up to Christmas and the school's next season, she and her new coworker, Dan, that's Ben Ayers, discover who they believe to be the real Santa, lost and without his memories. So they decide to help him remember who he is by inviting him to participate in the intense Santa training program. Why do you love this movie at number two?
Yeah, very cool idea. And Russ coming through again, writing just a great script. Ben Ayers, probably my favorite actor in these movies. Like, he's just so great. Kim Sustad delivers great. Obviously, she's so funny and she's so sincere and believable. It was so Christmassy. Like, the scenes in the school, it felt like they put special attention on making this feel like cozy and it's so well lit and so nice. Yeah, just had a blast. I watched it multiple times this year. So that speaks volumes, I would say. And so, yeah, I feel like this is just one of the best of the year, and I won't hear any arguments.
Brian will not hear any arguments. I
You'll
love
hear
this
from my
movie
lawyers.
too. Absolutely. Mary, do you want to hear from Brian's lawyers? What do you think about the Santa Claus at number 2? You have one remaining veto. You going to use it?
I guess he better put in his earplugs. No, I'm kidding. I love this movie.
Wow.
No,
We're not sure if you're joking or not, Mary.
Elf hater.
no.
This is sort of a fish out of water a little bit.
No, I loved this movie. I have it at number 2. I feel like it could have been anywhere in the top 3 or 4. I loved it.
Mary loved it. Oh, she loved it. Yay. Good, good. Vanessa, did you love this? You have a veto and a veto override.
I do. I have this on my personal list. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really fun. I thought Paul Campbell's role was actually hilarious. It was just funny. A lot of different stuff in it. I like this movie.
Yeah, very different. Russell Hainline, he's becoming a national treasure for Hallmark. If nothing else, his writing and the movies that he's done so far have just been a lot of fun. Really, really good. And cast perfectly too. And directed beautifully. Okay, Mary, this brings us to number 1. What are you going to play?
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Well, you think for a second. I'll do a recap. I'll do one more recap, state of the list, and then you can announce what your number 1 is. So at 10, we have Three Wiser Men and a Boy. At 9, Holiday Crashers. At 8, Hanukkah on the Rocks. At 7, Christmas with the Sings. At 6, Confessions of a Christmas Letter. At 5, Christmas on Call. At 4, Holiday Touchdown. At Chief's Love Story. At 3, A Carol for Two. At 2, The Santa Claus. And at number 1, maybe, definitely, hopefully, what's it going to be?
Oh my gosh.
It's tough because there's like a few.
I have 2 that should be in the top 3. And I have another one that should be on this list.
Okay.
I will say number 1, my pick, Christmas Quest.
The Christmas Quest. Lacey Chabert is Stephanie. Chris Palaha is Chase. An archaeologist and her ex-husband, an expert in ancient Norse languages, are sent to Iceland at Christmas time to search for the legendary treasures of the Yule Lads. When others join in the hunt, the pair find themselves swept into a thrilling adventure as they race to keep it from falling into the wrong hands. Who doesn't love a treasure hunt? Very sort of Indiana Jones-ish. Really nice twist. Why do you love this movie at number 1, Mary?
I love a treasure hunt movie, a heist movie. Lacey is obviously our queen of Hallmark. She wore some really weird clothes. But on the other hand, Christopher Palaha's never looked more handsome. But they did a great job working together. Their banter was good. Their chemistry was good. Even though they are actors that we have seen in so many roles and then as themselves, like in interviews and stuff, like I still believed them in the movie. I wasn't sure if I would. I thought it was a fun adventure movie, which is something different. And I even like that the bad guy, the gal that was chasing them throughout the movie in a real Hallmark way turned out to not be a bad guy. I really liked it. I do have another one that I wish could just sit here next to it in the number 1 spot, but since you made me pick one, that's my pick.
That is your pick, The Christmas Quest. They were, they have each been individually in so many different Hallmark movies, but we've never seen them together. And I think that they made a really good duo. It was a lot of fun. Brian, what are your thoughts on The Christmas Quest, even though you can't veto it?
I don't have it very high, so I don't love it at number 1 based on what it was. I do appreciate Chris and Lacey being represented at the top of the list, the maybe king and queen of Hallmark Christmas movies there. I guess we're crowning them there. I don't know, like the fact that they went to Iceland and filmed and it was authentic, like that's super cool. We should support that. I'm glad that we give that props and like that's great. More of that. the chase of it, what I did also like how the baddie wasn't bad after all. She was protecting her family stuff. And so I kind of like that little twist. The actual bad guy, like when Chris changed teams in that pivotal moment near the end, I was like, oh, this is good. Like that's what I wanted more of. I thought that was a lot of fun. So if there was more like, I don't know, adventuring and bad guying, it would have probably been higher on my list. And then the just at the end, the resolution of it when they get to that cave and it's very well lit and filled with just memories, I was like, what a letdown. That's a bummer. So it just didn't deliver fully for me. There were a lot of things that were super cool. So for all those reasons, and just to give the nod to doing something different, something clever, and some of our favorite people, like, okay, that's nice for them to be up there.
And the Yule Logs.
Okay. Oh, and all the bars and restaurants were really like cool. Like every place they were eating and drinking, like I wanted to be in there. They all felt
It's so cozy.
Yeah, so cozy, so cool feeling like that. I'm glad that they showed that. And so, yeah, I guess the lads, okay.
Brian, I just want to clarify. The only reason you don't like this movie is because they treasure their memories?
Yeah,
Because you
too
liked
much memory.
everything else in that description.
Yeah, I liked everything else enough. And yeah, I'm anti-memory and sentimentality and more baddies and more
Okay.
changing teams to be bad.
And more fish out of water.
Right. That's right.
Well, now that we're clear on that, the Christmas Quest at number 1, Vanessa, it is all up to you. Are we done with this list? What is going to happen? Do you keep it? Do we veto it?
I really thought that I was going to end this draft holding on to my veto and veto override. I really did. But I'm gonna have to go ahead and say that this movie was fine. It was way lower on my list. There were some cute scenes, but there are other movies that deserve to be in this top 10 that aren't here. And for that reason, I have to veto.
Vanessa using her veto finally at number
That's a romp.
No,
Oh.
no, Brian,
Sure?
no.
Sure.
Sure.
That's not what a romp is. Read a book, Brian. Jeez.
There's a book on it?
Mary wrote it. Romp devotional.
Oh, Dayspring did not publish that one.
Wrote it for the romp. Yep.
Wrote it for the romp. Mary, I think you might have gotten your wish here. You got to talk about the Christmas Quest. It's coming off the final list. What are you going to replace it with?
Okay, I'm going to replace it with the Finish Line.
And that's what it's going to be, because no one has any more vetoes except for Mary, and well, I doubt she's going to veto herself. So we have the Finish Line at number 1, and that is Kim Matula as Anya, Bo Murchoff is Cole. This is a story where Anya follows her father's footsteps in a dog sled racing competition. It's in Finland, and she enters his last race, but her lead dog is injured, and she teams up with Cole's dog, that's Bo. He's a reporter slash writer. He used to be a racer, but he's not racing anymore, so he has an extra dog. She can have it. And she battles with her father's rival, Monty, who kind of cheated, maybe, in the competition that he had with her dad years and years ago. And throughout all of this, she learns to trust Cole, trust her new canine partner, maybe win the race. Who knows what's going to happen? It's a Hallmark movie. All I have to say is I love Kim Matula. She is such a great talent, and I love the scenery. I love the dogs, great script. So the Finish Line at number 1, tell us why you chose it for number 1.
Well, a lot of what you just said, I really, really love Kim Matula. I just like her so much. I thought that the plot was different. I know that it has been said that the sportsmanship of it all was terrible, but I don't care about that, so that does not bother me. Monty was super annoying, but I think it paid off with the big action scene at the end. Not that I started liking him or caring about him as a human, but just that because of him, we got that. Like, she really could have died. Obviously, she's not going to in one of these movies, but the stakes were pretty high. Her cousin, it was her cousin, right? He
Yeah.
was so funny, so funny. And her friend who I knew from Superstore loved her in this movie. She was hilarious. I felt like their relationship, the two women's relationship, felt very grown up and real, and but also still entertaining. I just really liked it. Now, not to say that I'm pro dog sled racing because I have not done my research and I don't know if it's bad or not, but I really like the movie.
You really like the movie. It is the number one movie. Brian, what are your thoughts on The Finish Line, especially at number one?
I love this at number one. I'm so glad this is on the list, and I feel like giving it the number one spot is so perfect. It sort of came out of nowhere. I didn't expect to like this as much as I did. Very much an underdog, pun intended and not, but mostly intended, underdog movie. If for nothing else, the fact that we got Benedict Grundall as Lavi, the superstar maybe of the season, the guy was phenomenal. Deck the Hallmark was going to be on Good Morning America this year, and we were going to talk about The Finish Line. We had been chatting with Benedict just to make sure we got like his name pronunciation right. Like we were letting him know, hey man, we're going to talk about your movie. It's going to be awesome. And then we got canceled from Good Morning America. I don't need to talk about it. The lawyers will handle that. I don't want to talk about it. I'm so glad this movie's on the list. I'm so glad Vanessa vetoed The Christmas Quest, and we got to say nice things about The Christmas Quest and then move it out of the way for The Finish Line being here. So thank you, Mary. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Brian. What a romp.
What a dog romp. Vanessa.
You can't say that. That's worse than anything I've said.
True. Not
Oh,
true
it took a
at
turn.
all. It just took a turn. Vanessa, save us. What do you think of The Finish Line at number one? Was this the movie that you were hoping she was going to play? Are you happy with it if this wasn't the movie you thought she was going to play?
Well, I have a few different thoughts. So in the beginning of this recording, I mentioned that there was a movie that everybody loved that I did not. This was it.
Oh no.
Oh,
I did have this high on my list that I submitted because I knew that everybody loved it. But on my personal list, I don't know what about, like, I wish I liked it. Everybody loved it. And I thought, okay, maybe I was just in like a weird place when I watched it the first time. Let me try again. So I tried to watch it again and I just couldn't get into it. And I don't know what it is. Maybe I want someone to explain to me why it's so great. I mean, the part that I did think was great. Is this the one when they tried to get into the like the party and they lied and said it was like some other guy's name? No, that was Christmas Quest.
It was Christmas Quest, yeah.
Okay, well, I like that scene. Um, see, I don't know. I mean,
are you regretting vetoing the Christmas Quest?
I'm not only because of my ranking list, but I don't know. I need to watch it again, I guess. I don't know.
Full disclosure, it took me 3 tries. I tried watching it and turned it off after 10 minutes. And then I
Okay.
tried watching it again and made it like after 20. And then the third time I was like, I have to watch this movie. I know that a lot of people love this movie. What is happening here? So the third time that I watched it, I actually really enjoyed it a lot. There's some good action scenes, the way that it was filmed. I don't know if she was actually riding on the dog sled at one point or not. They certainly did a good job if it was green screen. So I think The Finish Line is a solid pick for the list. Definitely, needed to be on there. Kind of bummed that the Christmas Quest came off, but you guys did a great job. Beth, you are the official scorekeeper. Let's do our list comparison first. How did you and I do? How many points did we get against the final list? I always lose at these things, so I'll just say
I
congratulations
haven't lost
now.
the last couple episodes though. So, and this will be no different. You had 6 points and I had five. So
Oh,
just
tell us
I
your list.
barely
What was your
eked in
list?
there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had the Christmas charade. I care. This is
It's
starting at
charade.
10. A Carol for Two, Hanukkah on the Rocks, This Time Each Year, A 90s Christmas, The 5-Year Christmas Party, The Santa Claus, The Christmas Quest, Confessions of a Christmas Letter, and Just for You, Mary, Sugar Plumbed at number one.
Oh,
But
she's
I
giving the
would,
thumbs
the
down.
one I really want to talk about is the 5-year Christmas party. Nobody, we didn't even mention it here, but it was such, to me, just a really great movie. It was fun to watch. It was different than something they've done before. I really loved the characters and the actors did a great job. So I just want to give the 5-year Christmas party a little bit of love because I I think it deserved a spot on the list, but I
It was
wasn't
good.
drafting, so
It was good. All right. My list was, let me grab it here. My list was at 10, trading up, also known as oh, I sit on your face. Wow, how that line got by people. And just so you know,
Hallmark After Dark.
she's talking about a bench, folks, that she sits on at 9, Confessions of a Christmas Letter at 8, Hanukkah on the Rocks, which I do believe was number 8 on the list, so yay. 7, The Finish Line. 6, A Dance in the Snow. 5, Christmas with the Sings. 4, The Santa Claus. 3, 'Twas the Date Before Christmas. At 2, The Christmas Quest. And at number 1, The Christmas Charade. And I guess the one that I would pick to talk about is a Dance in the Snow. I thought it was a beautiful movie. I'm not normally coming to Hallmark for the sads. I wouldn't say it was all sad. I think it was very uplifting. I love the message points. I liked that both of the two lead younger actors are on the autism spectrum. I thought that they did a great job. I thought it was beautifully written and it was lovely. So that was me. Sorry, Erin Beth, I beat you by 1 point. Who knew?
who
Okay.
knew?
Who
Who
knew?
who knew?
Who
But
knew?
now we will know what Vanessa, Mary, and Brian's personal top 10 lists were, the ones that they submitted. And then Erin Beth will tell us how many points you all got against the final list and who the actual winner is. So, Brian, why don't we start with you? What was the list that you submitted? And if there was a movie that didn't get played that you want to talk about, tell us about it.
Sure. At number 10, Jingle Bell Run. 9, Holiday Crashers. 8, Finish Line. 7, 90s Christmas. 6, Sugar Plum. 5, Confessions of a Christmas Letter. 4, Holiday Touchdown. 3, Carol for Two. 2, Three Wiser Men and a Boy. 1, Santa Claus. I feel like Three Wiser Men and a Boy stands out there to me, just like rereading this list, because um, at 2, it seems super high for a movie that it was a sequel. It's not controversial, but I feel like a little polarizing, and that some people maybe weren't as interested in it since it is a sequel. I thought it was funnier than the original. I had a really good time. I feel like they did enough different that it stands on its own, but it also added to what we already knew about these characters. So I enjoyed it a lot. I know I enjoyed it a lot more than most people did. I'm glad it's on the list, our total top 10. I'm surprised, I guess, that I have it so high, but it stayed, like, I ranked it and it stayed high, and that's where it ended up. So there wasn't a lot of fudging my list and massaging it afterwards to get things in certain places. Like, I rated them a number value and they stayed at that the whole season, and I just let the chips fall where they did, and dipped them in salsa and ate them all up.
That sounds
It
like
was a
a
romp.
delicious. It was a romp. No, that is not a romp.
Okay.
But your salsa dipping, I'm hungry now. So let's hear from Mary. Let's hear what your list is. I'm very intrigued to see who actually won this thing, just because of the titles that were played and the list that you submitted. Mary, what was your top 10 list that you submitted.
Okay, so my list was number 10, Christmas Under the Lights. Number 9, Hanukkah on the Rocks. Number 8, Christmas with the Sings. Number 7, Jingle Bell Run. Number 6, Christmas on Call. Number 5, 90s Christmas. Number 4, A Carol for Two. Number 3, The Finish Line. Number 2, The Santa Claus. And number 1, Christmas Quest.
What about
So-
Jingle? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yes, I am going to talk about that, but I did promise my daughter that I would tell you all while recording that she believes 90s Christmas should be number 1. So just so you know, that's her
It's a
opinion.
great movie.
Noted.
Mhm.
Noted.
But I was really surprised we didn't put Jingle Bell Run on the list.
Yeah.
Having Ashley Williams and Andrew Walker, 2 of our very faves, on the screen and in person. I thought the movie was super fun, kind of a different plot than we've seen before, and they were very snarky with each other, but in a funny way. So I'm surprised it didn't get on the list. I think, if we did this all over again, maybe it would, but that's how it goes in the draft.
That's how it goes in the draft. Well, so far you and Brian both had it on your list, but you didn't play it. Let's hear from Vanessa. Vanessa, what was your top 10 list that you submitted?
Okay, my list that I submitted. Number 10, Three Wiser Men and a Boy. Number 9, Christmas with the Sings. Number 8, Hanukkah on the Rocks. Number 7, Jingle Bell Run. Number 6, Santa Tell Me. Number 5, Carol for Two. Number 4, A 5-Year Christmas Party. Number 3, A Finish Line. Number 2, Sugar Plums. Number 1, A Holiday Touchdown, a
Oh,
Chiefs love
wow.
story.
Okay, so all 3 of you had Jingle Bell Run on your list, but nobody played it.
Yes.
This happens all the time.
Mhm.
Vanessa, which movie would you like to talk about that you didn't get a chance to?
On the list that I submitted, we didn't really talk about Santa Tell Me.
No.
That was kind of fun, like the whole magical thing with the 3 Nicks. She had to pick between the 3 Nicks.
Yeah, Chris Russell.
Yeah, a lot of like big actors. Benjamin Ayres was like some famous pediatric neurosurgeon. I don't know. It was silly. It was very silly
And
in that
Daniel
way.
Lissing coming back. Daniel
Mhm.
Lissing. Yeah.
So that was a fun one.
And what about a 5-year
I
five-year
mean,
Christmas party? Some people really loved that movie.
yeah, I mean, I put it on my list that I submitted, but I didn't, it was okay. Whatever.
Okay, not
I had
exactly a
others
high
that
note to land on. All right,
Yeah.
Erinbeth, don't keep us in suspense. How did each person do? Who won this match?
Right. So Vanessa scored 8 points. She was tied with 8 points with Mary, but Brian took it with 10 points.
Ryan.
My
It's
God,
the second
Brian.
year in a row Brian
2
came out
years
on
running,
top.
Of course I did. What a romp.
His
I'd like a
lawyer.
recount.
Call
We're
his
gonna recount,
lawyer.
please.
Wow, congratulations,
Thank
Brian.
you.
So you were the first person to be in line for the 2025 Tournament of Champions. This was great. You guys, you were so much fun. You are always such a blast. I can't believe you've done this for 3 years in a row. I'm hoping you'll make it 4, but I'll ask you off the air. You're all smiling and shaking your heads. Maybe it is a yes. We'll see. All right. Still coming up in January, we've got the semifinals for the 2024 Hallmark Movie Drafts Tournament of Champions. Those 8 players in the semis are Erin, Tracy, Jenna, Kristen, Cece, Kate, and Bran, and Danielle, aka Happy. And only 3 of them are going to move on to compete in the finals, which is going to be in February. And also in February is our official Loveuary Valentine's themed draft. Another great panel. It features 2 first-time drafters, Alicia, and believe it or not, Ernie will be drafting. So finally, a second male on the panel who's not a professional podcaster. So Thaddeus broke the streak there by being the very first. Hopefully more will come on. We're really not that intimidating.
Is that the
It's a lot
glass
of
ceiling
fun.
I keep hearing about? Did you
It's the
break the
male
glass?
glass ceiling.
Finally, it's breaking.
Finally, Finally. And they're going to go up, these first-time drafters, they're going to go up against the legendary Meredith. So Meredith, as you know, Mary, finished third in
Yes.
last year's championship
She is stiff
against Moontan.
competition.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be a great month. Lots going on for the rest of January and all of February. So once more, for the final time, here's the definitive list of the 10 best 2024 Christmas Hallmark movies as drafted by Mary, Brian, and Vanessa. Here we go. At 10, Three Wiser Men and a Boy. At 9, Holiday Crashers. 8, Hanukkah on the Rocks. 7, Christmas with the Sings. 6, Confessions of a Christmas Letter. 5, Christmas on Call. 4, Holiday Touchdown, A Chief's Love Story. At 3, A Carol for Two. At 2, The Santa Claus. And at number 1, The Finish Line. Great job, everybody. Let's all say bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Merry
Justice
Christmas.
for Sam Page. Hallmark Movie Drafts is a monthly production. Stephanie Purcell creates the movie synopses using descriptions from IMDb or Hallmark.com as a base. Kate Baca vets the list of eligible movies and manages our Letterboxd account called Hallmark Drafts, where you'll find the list of eligible movies for each show, as well as the final top 10 lists and the panelists who drafted them. Erinbeth Cermak creates the Where to Watch lists and the trivia round questions, and along with Stephanie and Kate, provides additional creative, research, and hosting support. I'm Lynn Austin. I'm the showrunner, producer, and host. I staff the panels, create the show topics, manage the production schedule and the HMD socials, and edit and publish the podcast. Intro and outro music is provided courtesy of Amato Zapana. Thank you to the Deck the Hallmark Double-Deckers, who share their passionate opinions on these Hallmark movies that we love, or maybe not love, so much.